Hello and welcome back to the Data Privacy Lawyer. My name is Funmi Owolabi and I'm the principal attorney. Today's review, we're going to be looking at AI terms. I've spoken severally about why it is really important to have a privacy counsel either draft the AI terms depending on your products and services. Every business is going to roll out AI in a different manner. And even if you do have AI counsel, let's say you have specific designated AI counsel, it's really important to get privacy input on your AI terms because in some respect, artificial intelligence touches on personal data, whether it's from allowing access to the AI tool via a username and password, whether it's input that a customer is inputting and your AI tool is ingesting and then providing an output. There are privacy implications when you use artificial intelligence. So that's why we're reviewing it on this channel, because my firm is a privacy law firm. We look at data protection matters and we build privacy programs for businesses to ensure that they're compliant with privacy laws. Now, many businesses in 2026 are going to be either offering AI as a product that they sell, using AI internally, integrating it into a current existing business process, etc., etc. AI is being used more and more, and I think going forward, we're going to start seeing AI terms offered on websites in the same manner in which we see this privacy policy and the cookie policy. Now, if you've watched any videos on my channel, I have done several privacy reviews and cookie reviews for different organizations. A new feature of my channel is going to include AI because it implicates privacy. Now let's take a look at these AI terms. The first thing I noticed here is that these AI terms don't have a date that this particular web page was last updated. Let me tell you the significance and importance of having that date from a business perspective, because one of the things that lawyers do is we don't just look at what the law is, we also look at the implications on the business. My personal intake form for my law firm, it requires businesses to outline how their products and services are offered to customers. The reason why it's very important for any terms that a business is going to sign up to from a customer perspective has that last date it was updated is to ensure that the customer is able to do their due diligence based on the product that you're offering. So let's take a look at some of these products. They've got manual cross-browser testing, browser automation, automate web compliance. They've got accessibility training, etc. These are the products they have, okay? If any of these products have changed in the manner in which they process personal data, that may influence the terms on the site. Now, I can't know that for a fact because I don't know anything about this business. I'm just giving an opinion based on my insights and knowledge in this industry. If any of these products have changed the manner in which they process personal data, that is going to implicate the terms, which is why it's really important, one, for the vendor or supplier to review their terms periodically. Now, the periodically is going to vary business to business, but letting the customer know whether or not these are the terms that apply to their use of the service at this time is really important. I'm not going to dwell too much on that. Let's take a look at this first section. So they do have a terms of service. I've talked about in other AI reviews how businesses are rolling out these terms in different ways. Sometimes they will have something called a master service agreement. The master service agreement generally will offer insight into terminology. I think it's really important for businesses that are offering their terms on their public-facing website to provide definitions for the due diligence process that a lot of businesses are doing from a privacy perspective. Now, businesses do due diligence for lots of different reasons. The due diligence we're talking about here is vendor due diligence, which should form a component of your privacy program. So when a customer is thinking about obtaining a tool from a supplier, they are going to go through something called the request for proposal period. During that period, the customer themselves is going to check out your business. In checking out your business, they might want to know about how their need for your service is going to impact how their business is currently structured. Now, I don't know everything about their products, but I would find it to be valuable, particularly with AI. You can use AI in a number of different ways. The inputs and outputs associated with an artificial intelligence tool is going to vary business to business. At a minimum, AI terms should explain details on what constitutes the AI features and what constitutes input and output data with respect to the terms. I feel like that needs to be consistent. If a customer is going to be signing up for AI terms, they should know what constitutes input and output, and it should not be exclusive to the terms of service. Now, AI is being rolled out in different capacities. I definitely understand that. But as it matures within a business organization, I think there needs to be more in terms of definitions. I've spent a lot of time talking about that, and I'm not familiar with these products and tools. I just like to make observations based on what businesses are doing. One, I think it's good for education for businesses that do watch this channel, but also to be able to understand how the AI landscape is going to continue to evolve and is going to continue to be influenced not only by privacy legislation, but also artificial intelligence legislation. Okay. So BrowserStack services may include one or more third-party AI tools for certain AI-powered products, capabilities, or functionalities on the BrowserStack platform. So it's really important when you do have a privacy counsel review your terms, give them insight into the platform from a privacy perspective. I find that sometimes organizations provide a lot of technical specifications because in some geographies under AI legislation, you've always got to have technical specifications. But what is not a feature of AI legislation, as far as I know, in some geographies, there's not a requirement to really go into an immense amount of detail on the processing activities. That's kind of reserved to privacy legislation. So many companies will have technical specification, but they won't have insights into the privacy component and how it interacts with their AI features. That's going to be very important. And I think the more and more AI is utilized in some geographies, the more businesses are going to realize the importance of having a thriving privacy program because of the overlap between privacy and artificial intelligence. Now, this is a short AI terms. I would be intrigued about who constitutes a customer. Is this going to be offered to businesses or is it going to be offered to individuals? Irrespective of who constitutes a customer, we're going to have individual human beings utilizing this service, which means that there's going to be some type of personal data in scope. Now, I've talked about this a lot on the channel, and I'm going to say it again. The traditional understanding of personal data is not necessarily what constitutes personal data in some geographies under privacy legislation. If the information identifies an individual, it constitutes personal data. So in the data protection space, you'll see things like IP address constitute personal data that has to be accounted for by businesses. It's not name, it's not email address, right? It's different identifiers that could be a string of numbers. But if it identifies an individual, it has to be captured and safeguarded in the manner required under the privacy law. So that's another consideration that I think businesses could value when they're looking at their AI and the functionality that they provide to their customers and that they use internally within their own business. Okay, BrowserStack currently uses artificial intelligence technology developed by third parties. I'm just going to highlight this, and this is the last thing we're going to talk about for this particular review. A question that I would have if I was negotiating or reviewing these terms from a due diligence perspective, if the AI is developed by the third party, does that require the third party to process any personal data belonging to customers? That would be really valuable. And I talked about this a lot in other privacy policy and privacy notice reviews. But essentially, it's really important when you do your due diligence to understand what type of third parties could obtain your personal data as a customer, because there may be implications with respect to cross-border transfers under certain data protection laws. There's lots of implications depending on where that third party is located. But you as the customer, let's say you're a business customer, you still need to protect the data irrespective of the geography in which the data will be processed. There's also going to be a responsibility on that third party depending on where they're geographically located too. So there's lots of different questions that arise from a privacy perspective, irrespective of the fact that these terms are called AI terms. So I really hope you enjoyed this review. If you enjoy understanding more about data protection, how it might impact your business, or if you're looking for privacy counsel in general, take a look at my description and I'll see you in another review.